All right, so now I want to show you how to create your target audience, because most of you probably won't understand right off the bat how you're going to boost your posts. So the way that you're going to boost your post to a target audience is by first creating an ad to that target audience. Now, you're not actually going to pay for this ad, but you are going to create that target audience to save it. Now, I'm in my ads manager from Business Manager, which is business.facebook.com. Once you sign up, and you can have 5 ad accounts. This is my specific ad account. As you can see, my post engagements right here, 2 cents a post engagement, 3 cents a post engagement, 3 cents a post engagement. Now I've had, if I could scroll all the way down to the past where I used to test this to show the the other account that I used to manage for social media. If for whatever reason, I guess it doesn't show my reach or my impressions or my cost per result anymore and the amount that I spent. But because clearly I've paid that and it's been a while. But when I used to actually do that, I would get some of them that were like 0.002, 0.003, and that's what you're going to be looking for cost per result. So you go to Business Manager, and then you want to go to the Ads Manager in this top little 3 bars right here. And you won't have any of this because you probably haven't turned on any, you haven't created any ad sets yet. But that's basically what you're going to be looking out for. So you're going to want to basically go to Create, and then you're going to want, where is it? It's Reach. I'm going to show you maximum add to the number of people, traffic, get posting destination. No, that's not it. Which one is it? Hold on. It's engagement. There it is. I was looking for it. I was like, where is it? It's not here. It's engagement. So you want to go to ads, create your new ad, and then you're going to go for consideration engagement. And that's basically going to, send your post out. Facebook's going to optimize it to get the most people that are more inclined to like it or engage with it, share it, comment. And the reason for that is so that you can invite them like I showed you before. Now, what you're going to do, you're not going to create a split test because you're not running any, ads to try and get like profitable or anything like that. You're just going to, potentially name it. So I'm going to name this test ad for course. And I'm going to continue. Name it whatever you want, just something you're going to remember so you can look at the demographic and then, figure out how to do that. Now, here we are in, the Ads Manager. And like I said, if you're interested in an in-depth course on this, you don't need it by any means to do this and scale it up. Trust me. You just need to know, how to set your initial audience and search for some things and then, slowly hone it down. But if you're looking for an in-depth study, like I said, I do have a Facebook ads course on my website. I offer it for $10 for my current students, and you can go ahead and get that at the end of this course. However, you don't need it. So we're going to create a new audience, and you can name your audience whatever you want. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to pick locations. I specifically picked locations here that were English speaking, and that's how I kind of honed it down there. And the way that you're going to do that is by basically either typing in a location or browsing to find them. So you could browse by country, region, or anything like that. But if you wanted to potentially, if I wanted to, basically just go to Philadelphia, which is the city that I live in, you could type in Philadelphia as a city. If I wanted to go to, maybe I was in Germany and I wanted to target German people, I would type in Germany, and I could do the country of Germany. It literally is unlimited. You could literally just type in any location. If you want to do it by city, if you want to do it by country, it's hard for me to kind of, give you a specific, way to do it, because everybody's going to be in a different niche, in a different area with a different purpose, trying to generate, likes and follows for a different reason. But for me specifically, I did the United States, and I also did, now I'm creating a new one. So I did United States, United Kingdom, because that's English speaking as well. I did Canada. Now, Sweden, I believe I did like Sweden, Finland, some of those other countries that also, speak a little bit of English, like Scandinavian, stuff like that. But they weren't as good for me. So I stuck with United States, United Kingdom, Canada. I think I went to New Zealand. Australia was the other one. And I think Mexico is pretty good for me too, but I won't put them in just for the sake of showing you here. And then you're going to want to keep it pretty broad, depending on what you're actually trying to, use your common sense here. Just like you'd use your common sense here. And none of this really matters too much. You could literally keep it global and then slowly figure out what countries are, responding better to you if you want to do it that way. Just like you could keep this broad if you want to, keep it, all the gender, all your age 18 to 65 plus, and keep it broad and then slowly figure out who's, it's going to be a slower process, but then you can slowly figure out who's responding to your ad better and then slowly target it down. Works that way too. For me specifically, I'm, it depends on what my goals are. So if my goals to create this vacation page potentially were to sell affiliate links, well, then I wouldn't really want to mark my demographic to like younger kids or people that are like, you know, in their low 20s potentially, because typically they don't have a lot of money to spend on, you know, traveling or, you know, on affiliate links. So I might want to go a little bit higher. But since my purpose for that isn't to actually, you know, sell affiliate links on this, I'm just kind of trying to, you know, generate a following and build a page so that I can basically, you know, sell brand deals or sponsors or whatever. I want the most post reach possible. So I specifically know that about 14, you know, to about, I think it was like 24 or 27, we'll keep it low because obviously I'm not trying to market to 14-year-olds or anything like that, but we want to get all these people in here to see who responds the best. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, etc. You get the point. And I'll put it to like 30 specifically. Maybe we'll go to like 30. We'll go to 35. And I know specifically that women also respond better, but we'll keep it all just to kind of show you. And then slowly, as I post more and more every single day, I would slowly figure out what age groups respond best and, you know, nix the ones that aren't responding well, and what gender responds better. And if one specifically responds a lot better to your niche or your posts than, you know, the other one, then that's potentially what you're going to want to focus on when you narrow that demographic down to. So I'm going to type in English as a language, English all. It could be different, you know, depending on what you're going to potentially market it to. And then here is where your detailed targeting matters. So now you finally have all this. You can keep this broad if you want, or you can kind of slowly hone it down. If you're unsure, I suggest keeping it broad, like I said before, and then you can slowly hone it down. Now, your detailed targeting is where you're going to make your money. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to browse these and really familiarize yourself with these type of, you know, the demographics, the interests, and the behaviors. Not so much more categories. There can be some good ones in more categories, but you're really going to focus on interest, demographics, and somewhat behaviors, depending on what your niche is and your purpose. And if you guys have any questions on how to actually target that potentially, drop either a comment in the Q&A on the course, message me on Udemy's platform, or shoot me an email to Brian, that's Brian with a Y, at bgmediainnovation.com, and I would love to honestly help you out with that. But for specifically, I just want to kind of touch on these, you know, depending on what your niche is, it might be different, but I'm just going to run through a couple of these that I might target for vacation spots. So you see, if we look right here in demographics, there's a bunch of different things. You know, I don't necessarily want to target any education level. You might. I don't want to target any specific financial level because I'm not, you know, like I said, trying to sell anything. But if I were, maybe I would want to go, you know, with an X amount of income. And these are all things that you can play around with. Check them if you want, uncheck them if you don't. And that will slowly, as you see here, if I wanted to potentially sell to people, anybody making over $100,000 a year or more, what I would do is I'd come down and I'd check everybody that was above that, right? It's that simple. Literally go down the list and just check everybody that was above that per, you know, different country. And then what I would do is I'd come back in and I would say narrow my audience. You can also exclude people too. So you can continue to, you know, add things here. If you wanted to potentially add another one, you know, you could go into, maybe you want people that only are single moms. You know, then you would find single moms. Or, you know, maybe you're marketing a baby product, and you really don't think that men are going to buy too many, you know, potential, you know, strollers or, you know, baby bags or something like that. You could market to, you know, corporate moms. You could market to soccer moms. You can market to stay-at-home moms. You can market to new moms. Clearly, they're going to be, you know, typically have, an interest in, you know, buying baby stuff. Maybe you have, you know, it's so broad, it's hard to kind of give you a specific example, but I wanted to kind of touch on a couple of these demographics, and clearly you can see how many people are in these, you know, potential lists. So if I wanted people, you know, all parents with preschoolers, there's about 12,132,809 people in that demographic, in that description on Facebook that you could potentially target. So let's say I wanted to target, you know, parents for whatever reason with preschoolers and parents with early school age children for whatever my reason was that I was trying to grow this page, that all make above 100,000 a year from these, you know, countries. You'll slowly start to see my potential reach get narrower and narrower and narrower, narrower and narrower and narrower as I continue to add detailed targeting. I don't suggest, you don't want to be in the tens of millions. Anything a little bit lower than 10 million is good. Anything lower than 1 million is great, especially when you're only doing $1 a day. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, a way that you can really kind of hone down your demographic, especially continually adding some demographics here and some interests here. And like I said, if I wanted to add interests or behaviors, maybe potential, maybe they have a history of buying, whatever it is, for baby products, then you could basically go into consumer classification. Maybe you wanted to, people that liked baby products, well, then you want to go into digital activities. Like I said, look at these, familiarize yourself with them, and then it's really easy to kind of target things that you think that they'd be more inclined to like. Now, this is good because you want to keep it relatively broad initially, and then you're going to slowly, like I said before, in the next lecture, like I'll show you, how to target, how to hone down that demographic so you can get more and more, bang for your potential buck. But just to kind of show you there, I wanted to touch on that. Now, if you wanted to get really narrow, you could basically say, people that make over 100 grand a year, that are parents with preschoolers or parents with early school age children, but also, and then you narrow your audience, but also, have a behavior of, charitable donations. Whatever it is that you want. Like I said, it's the same thing. It's the same demographics, but then you're just essentially narrowing it down. Maybe that you want nurses, and then you'd go into job role or something like that. It's really hard, like I said, to kind of give you specifics, but just familiarize yourself with these. Try to get anywhere from, under 10 million people all the way to, I would stay above 5 to 10,000 people. And then you'll slowly start to hone that demographic down and then simply save your audience. You're not actually going to go continue, onto all this. You're not really too worried about any of this. I suggest keeping it when you're actually, you're just basically focused on, your audience. You're not really focused on the placements. If you wanted to get fancy with the placements, you could, basically suggest feeds. And then, I don't ever do Instagram because you're focusing on growing your page. But you don't want to, I suggest keeping it mobile and desktop. Some people will say just go mobile, but I think that's nonsense. I've seen a lot of engagement on desktop too. So like I said, don't worry about any of that other stuff. Just focus on narrowing down your demographic. To recap, you want to basically name your audience so you remember what it is. Then you're going to, select your location, your age and your gender. If you want to go narrow, if you want to keep it broad, that's up to you depending on your goals. Select your language and then figure out what demographics, what interests, and what behaviors you want in your detailed targeting. Then simply save the audience. Now, when you save that audience and you go back to post your initial post like I showed you in the last lecture, you're going to be able to boost that post to that audience because that audience will be saved from your audience. So if I wanted to boost this again specifically, I could use the audience that I have now, or I could, potentially go into a see all my audiences, and that audience that you created with whatever you named it would be right here for you to choose. Or you could simply create a new audience from here if you didn't want to go with that. It's that simple. So that's how you do it. That's how you essentially, create your first target audience. And then in the next, potential lecture, I'll show you how to slowly hone that down so you get more and more profitable to find that one potential ad that's really going to make you the most bang for your buck.